Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Fred Meyer, and this is another in a series of talks on Buddhist enlightenment. With this talk, I'm going to begin talking about stages on the path to enlightenment. Most people don't experience enlightenment in one shot. It usually is the culmination of a series of insights, usually over a considerable period of time, that leads to the final understanding of the true nature of mind and reality. One story that comes to mind, however, is of the sixth patriarch of Zen Buddhism, who supposedly, on hearing a sutra being recited, on hearing the lines, it attained enlightenment on the spot. So there are some examples in the history of Buddhism of people attaining it all at once. But if it does happen, it must be very unusual. In terms of these stages, the stage that is most common, the first stage that most people experience, is the sense of egolessness of self, which means the understanding that there is no central entity in charge of our affairs, that we have no self or ego or me. That's the first insight. And usually we come to that through a prolonged meditation. Slowly, over time, we begin to erode this feeling that there is a self. But it is possible, with one piercing look inside, to come to the understanding that there really is nothing or no one there, that we really do have no self. It's a little misleading for me to talk about looking inside, because in truth there is no inside or outside. But at this point of insight, we still think in terms of inside and outside, and it does feel like when you look inside, there's no longer anyone there. The proof that there is no longer anyone there is when we start to get a sense that there is no one thinking our thoughts, or no one having our emotions. And particularly for people who are meditators, committed meditators, the insight that there is no longer anyone or thing doing meditation. There is just meditation and no meditator. So when we start to get a sense of this sort of thing, this is when we are in the realm of experiencing egolessness of self. In the Buddhist literature, it's not unusual, and it must be very, very old, to talk about egolessness from the standpoint of components, that everything is made of components, and because, like our body is made of components, atoms, or you could think of organs or whatever, when you remove all those components, there's no central entity there. There's nothing there any longer. So you can use that component way of thinking of things to believe that you really know what egolessness of self is. That it's something, when the components go, there's nothing there, and that's egolessness. But that is not what egolessness of self is. And if you think that you understand egolessness of self from that logic, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because egolessness of self, or the absence of self, is an experience. It's something that you experience. It's not something that one comes to through logic. Another thing is, people mistake experiencing egolessness of self for enlightenment, which is a serious error, because enlightenment is far, far down the path. Many, many insights have to occur from egolessness of self. Many, many have to occur before you get to the point of enlightenment. So to think that you're enlightened because you have gotten to the point of seeing that you have no self is a mistake that could be costly to you because it might stop your progress on the path. You may stop there and think you've gone the whole path. And it also can be harmful to others if you start talking about enlightenment from the very small perspective of egolessness of self. One thing that might be helpful to you to try to get a sense that there is no one home, there's no one there, no central entity, is to look where your thoughts and emotions come from. If you become angry, or whatever, you become upset, or you start to feel guilty about something, or you have a very potent thought about something, simply look where the thought came from. It occurs, just look. Where did that come from? If you do that, you'll begin to get a sense that it's coming from nowhere. It's not coming from you, for sure. It's coming from, actually it's coming from emptiness. Actually, it is empty. It's not coming from emptiness. It is empty. It's an empty occurrence. But just to get you started on this sense of egolessness of self, go ahead and do that. Look where these things come from, and you'll start to get a sense that there's no one there. There's no entity there. So, in summary, we've talked about the first stage on the path to enlightenment, the experience of egolessness of self, how we can do it through meditation, and sometimes it can happen with just one piercing look with a prepared mind. You can see that there's no one there. And ways to see whether you are at that point of egolessness of self, there's no longer a thinker of your thoughts and so forth. So I think I'll stop here, and thank you so much for watching this, and I hope very much so that these comments are of help.